Hello and a good morning, good afternoon and a very good evening to you, for good and wonderful people of YouTube. Hope all today, hope you're feeling grand and all is well in your world. Hello there everybody. Today POTT, we are looking at the heavenly pedal that is, you've seen the title, you've seen a picture of it, it's down there on the floor off camera because it's on my pedal board and it ain't coming off. It's the Strymon Cloudburst ambient reverb pedal, and holy bejesus is this a hell of a pedal. You just leave it on and you just play one chord and you're immediately in heaven. I mean, it's just a G. I don't actually have words, it's filth. So, it took me a long time to get around to this pedal because basically when they came out, they just sold out everywhere they were. So that was always kind of really stressful. I first tried one of these actually, well I first saw it on the Anderton's channel when Pete and Lee demoed it. And the first time I got to try one was when I was at Anderton's doing Sounds Like videos. And Pete was making a small pedal board. When we were finished, he was making a small pedal board to go to like a masterclass or something he was doing. I forget exactly what it was he was doing. But the Cloudburst was on his pedal board. And he goes, have a go, while he was testing it. And I was like, oh my god, this is insane. Proceeded to want one, proceeded to not be able to get one because they were sold out everywhere. And rightly so, I can see why they sold so well. And then I got, like, towards the end of last year, I got to play my friend Ian's one. Ian had one, and I was just like, oh my god, I need one of these things. So I've got one, finally getting around to do the demo today, and I love it to bits. As like I say, it's gone straight on my pedal board. It's kind of like, you know, it technically doesn't even fit on my pedal board, but I made it fit. Here's a picture. You know, I've just basically rammed it on. You saw it in the intro jam anyway. But it's such an inspiring pedal. I love it to bits. And again, for when you're just kind of like playing on your own, just kind of like, you know, just like, you know, noodling about or whatever you're doing, it's such a comforting pedal to have on. It just takes you away. It zones you out from the world, which is, you know, one of the best things that, you know, music can do. It's the best thing music does. It just gets rid of, like, you know, the world goes away. And there's nothing but what you're doing at that point in time. And I think it's anything that can facilitate that is just like a yes. And the Cloudburst does, like I say, play one chord. My key, but you know what I mean. It happens. I forgot what key I was in all of a sudden. I was like, where am I? But again, that kind of proves the point. I got lost in that. I was not aware of what I was doing. And one thing I've found I've used this for is I've been doing a few live streams and I just find that like I've just put the volume low on the guitar and just literally just play while I'm talking. Random things happen, which is really cool, and I love that. I love the fact that I can just kind of like noodle about in the background and not think about what I'm playing, it's just happening. And you got this gorgeous kind of like pad sound beneath me. Like that. It's just insane. So let's talk about the controls on the Cloudburst POTT. So, it's got a little selector switch in the middle, which basically kind of like, you know, you can switch from just reverb. So this pedal just does like a reverb, which I'll show you. Then when the switch is in the middle, you get this other kind of like, it's kind of like not quite the full orchestra, you know, it's kind of like half the orchestra, and then where I've got it at this point in time, all the way over to the right, is the full orchestra, which is just heaven. Heaven, I tells you! Heaven and a half shell. So yeah, that's the switch in the middle. Then you've got a, what is it, a decay dial on the top right, mix dial on the top, decay dial on the top left, mix dial on the top right. It's because it's sideways, and I'm looking at it sideways, it's confusing. Pre-delay, tone, and modulation. So, let's get in to see what this thing can do. So, let's finish that first. Let's finish it on a major. Heavenly. Okay, so at this point in time, we're on the Forte mode, which is basically like the full orchestra mode. I have the decay at 3 o'clock, mix is at 12 o'clock, pre-delay, tone, and modulation are all at 10 o'clock. 10 half 10. Nearly, you know, not quite 11 o'clock, but somewhere between there. And again, it's one of those pedals where micro adjustments make a big deal. Which for a pedal like this I really, really like. So, like I say, you've heard it already. That's what this sounds like. So, messing with the mix dial will get rid of it altogether, or just kind of like... So this is the mix dial now at 9 o'clock. Like, supremely subtle. There's, you know, it's kind of like, it's literally just like hovering below your sound. You've heard it at 12 o'clock. This is at 3 o'clock. We're starting to get, you know, the guitar's starting to disappear at this point. Oh my god. And then we can get rid of the guitar altogether by turning the mix dial all the way up. So now there's no original signal at all. It's literally just the Cloudburst's Forte string mode. I mean, good lord. Outrageous. So what we can do to this is we can add more modulation. So at this point in time, the modulation dial, I've got it at, let's say, between 10 and 11 o'clock. So if I now, let's turn it all the way up to start with, and I'll bring it back. So now we've got full modulation. I'm going to leave it with no guitar signal, so you can just hear the kind of like the string kind of pad sound, and you'll hear how much it's modulating with the modulation all the way up. Doing that. If we bring down the modulation to about, well, 12 o'clock, it's a bit less. You can still hear it kind of like pushing slightly out of tune. Then if we turn modulation off altogether, it's just straight. There's no wobble there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to roll it back into where I like it, which is somewhere around 10 o'clock. It just gives a little bit of movement. You can just hear the beats. Like I said, it's just that little bit of movement that I really, really like about it. So that's the modulation dial. That works differently on different modes, which I'll get to in a bit. So tone, you can have basically the string kind of sound really, really dark or really, really bright. I quite like it kind of dark, you know, because I like darker sounds. But if I turn the tone all the way up, now the string sound will be quite bright. It's quite bright, quite thin sound. If I put that back over the guitar, I find that a bit slightly obnoxious, but it works, you know what I mean? So, what I'll do now is I'll play a chord, let it ring, and I'll turn the tone dial down, and you'll hear, hopefully, how you know, how dark it goes. So you can hear there's a lot of sweep on that thing. It goes super dark to super, super bright. When it gets bright, it does kind of thin out a bit, but kind of, you know, it still serves its purpose very well. Like I said, I really like it about 10 o'clock. I just find that the modulation, the tone, and the pre-delay, for me, work. That's kind of like my happy place, if you will, people do. So, talking about pre-delay. Pre-delay, basically, how to word that one? I'm not very good with words, but basically pre-delay, when it's all the way down, the strings come in immediately. The more pre-delay you have, the slower the strings come in. So, this is pre-delay all the way down. That should be pretty much immediate. This is now pre-delay at 12 o'clock, so they'll take a bit longer from me hitting the strings to the strings to come in. Then if I crank the pre-delay, they'll take even longer. And the pre-delay is a really useful control, and that along with the mix dial are basically the two dials I play with the most. I barely ever touch the mod, barely ever touch the tone. Actually, I never touch the tone or the mod or the decay. They're basically set for me. What I do play around with is more the mix and the pre-delay than I do anything else. Okay, so let's get to decay. So obviously decay, self-explanatory. Just where it's set is kind of how long the strings last for. So, if I turn it all the way down, the strings won't last very long. You know, it almost sounds like a brass section, actually. Cool. Decay now at 12 o'clock, they'll last a bit longer. But they'll die away quite quick. Decay all the way up is just crazy. And decay at 3 o'clock, which is where I like it, just has the right amount of sustain. It's filth. This pedal is complete filth. Okay, so that's the Forte mode. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to back it into the middle mode, which is the leave everything where it is. So basically everything's back exactly where it was when we started the video, apart from the mix, which is all the way up. Because I want to show you the effect, you know. My guitar sounds like this. It's not about my guitar sound, it's about the pedal. Anyway, yeah, so I'm going to put it in the middle. This is called MP, so this is kind of like half, you know, half the orchestra's gone home now, you're left with the other half. So it's not quite as big sound. If I go from this one back to the Forte mode, which is the full orchestra, hopefully you'll be able to hear what I mean. So this is the middle section. Forte. So the Forte mode has more highs. The middle mode, the MP mode, it's a lot more kind of like mids and lows. Whereas, like I say, the Forte mode has it all. So that's really nice as well. And again, when you're just kind of like, you know, messing around with it, it's just heavenly. But you can hear it's not as drastic as the Forte. It just kind of sits there. So the mix at this point in time is basically between 12 o'clock and 1 o'clock. This pedal is like my happy place. This is where I want to be all the time in this sound. Okay, so that's the middle mode, and then we've got one more mode, which is basically just turns the Cloudburst into basically just a reverb pedal. So I'm going to turn the reverb on the amp off. This is now totally dry. This is now the reverb from a Cloudburst. And the one thing I love about this pedal is you've got, out of those 3 modes, they're all usable. There's not one mode on this pedal where you're like, nah, that's not as good as the other one. You know, it's like they're all so good. And there's a reverb there. Filth. Turned up the modulation here. Just let it wibble a bit. Get rid of the guitar altogether. That is just as fun as anything else. And again, this is why I probably put distortion on it. Job's a good one. And again, other kind of distortion with the reverb. Turn it off. Back to Forte mode. Bloomin' marvellous is the words I would use, POTT. I'll probably peek the camera there, but that's okay. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. This pedal is just one of those. Oh my god, it's just insane. And a really cool thing happens when you turn the reverb on your amp up with the pedal in that Forte. The Forte mode, and you put the Mel 9 on with it with the choir, because then it sounds like this. Delay, more reverb. Chorus. Longer delay as well. Does any more? It's definitely not boring. Any more need to be said, POTT? I don't think so. This pedal is insane. And when I got it, I initially thought, oh, I'll go on my looper pedal board. So I'll just have it for loops and whatnot. But when I started playing around with it, seeing how well it acted with distortion, it's one of those pedals that, like, when I've got it with distortion, I kind of miss it when I don't have it on. Like, if I just set it, like, as I always say, but with the mix at 12 o'clock, this is with it out, without it. Maybe a bit less reverb on the amp as well, because you don't need that much reverb live. When you put it on, it just fattens it up even more. And for like single note like solos. In relation to yeah, just stick a fork in me. I am done, people. I haven't got words. I love this pedal with passion, and don't see me taking it off a board anytime soon. It's like the Mel 9 pedal to me. When I got the Mel 9 pedal, I immediately fell in love with it for all sorts of different things. Like, you know, just so many different things that the Mel 9 does, and it added so much of what I wanted that could never have unless I had a keyboard. And because I can't play keyboard, it was a no-no. But the Cloudburst now, adding that there as well, it's just an extra layer, and I love it. And I wanted it for live use, not just for kind of like, you know, when I'm doing YouTube videos or whatever. I wanted it for live use, for recording and everything. And it's just going to sit there, and it's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Anyway, POTT, that's enough waffle and, you know, swooning, if you will, over the Cloudburst pedal by Strymon. It's honestly just insane. This is the first Strymon pedal I've ever bought, people on YouTube. Anyway, if you like ambient guitars, you like sitting and just kind of like noodling on guitar, it's just like one of the best. Like I said, I can just get lost in it for hours. Hours will just vanish, and I'm like, oh, I'm still playing on the Cloudburst. I haven't turned it off, and I'm literally just playing simple chords. You know, I'm not doing anything crazy or clever. I'm just getting lost in it, and the Cloudburst just facilitates that even more. And I'm just can't wait to see what comes out of this thing. I really can't. Especially in like long jam session things with like guitars or whatnot. I really can't wait. It's going to be interesting, POTT. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this vid on the Strymon Cloudburst. It's a monster. Go and try it. You might not like it, but if you do, great. I don't know where I was going, but you know what I mean. It's just insane. The reverb is great. Like, you know, the string pad sound is great. It's just immense. Absolutely immense. It really is. So, anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you again very soon for another one. Have a great morning, afternoon, good evening. If you like the channel, please consider becoming a patron at Patreon. Links to that in the description box below. It's what keeps this channel going. If you are a patron, thank you so much indeed. You are awesome. I literally can't do this without you right now. Thank you so much indeed. And yeah, also links to my Bandcamp in the description box as well, where you can go and listen to my music. And some of my music will have that on it very soon. I have no doubts that I'm going to basically abuse the hell out of this pedal like I abused the hell out of the Mel 9. I don't care. Great. Sounds amazing. So, you know, can you ever have enough Cloudburst? No. Goodbye now.